Everybody's woodworking journey and woodworking story starts somewhere. Very few people have the funds and the ability to start off their woodworking journey with all the tools and with all the top line tools. The majority of us have started out with what we already had in our garage. So let's go over some of the essential tools that you need to start your woodworking journey. I know, Harbor Freight, but hear me out. Their Hercules line of tools are actually really good, to the point that I actually sold my Bosch drill and bought the Hercules drill instead. I was done with having multiple different battery types and wanted to reduce down to two, so I have Makita and I have Hercules now. So let's look at the drill. This is the same drill that I have from Harbor Freight, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever so far. This drill is brushless. It comes with a 2 amp hour battery, the charger, and the drill, and it's about $100. This is a great buy to get you into the Hercules system with the batteries. You should look out for some of the sales sometimes they have with the Hercules, where you could buy one of the bigger amp hour batteries and get a free tool. And those are really nice. If you're going to start woodworking, you're going to need a speed square. So we're going to have to go away from Harbor Freight for that, because I don't really like the plastic ones. I like something that's a little bit more hefty. The Swanson speed squares are great. I've had the one that I showed in the earlier video for the last 15 years, and it's held up great. It's been thrown around everywhere, and it's still holding up just fine. A speed square is about $15 depending on which one you get. These are also great to use if you have a circular saw, so you can use a circular saw to right up against the speed square to make sure that you are cutting straight. Next on the list is measuring tape. You're going to need multiple measuring tapes because you are always going to be looking for them. You're going to take one, you're going to measure something with it, you're going to set it down, and then you're not going to be able to find it. So multiple is always good. Here, back at Harbor Freight, they have the Hercules, is about $13, $14 right now. You can get a measuring tape anywhere from $10 to $15 depending on what brand you get and the length. I know there's a ton of YouTube videos out there comparing measuring tapes or making sure that one measuring tape measures up exactly with a woodpecker's tool, but honestly, we're not doing machinery. We're not machining things. So unless you need a really tight tolerance on what you're fitting together, you don't need to worry about things that are micro millimeters in accuracy. The biggest thing is to use the same tool throughout your project. So you really don't want to use multiple measuring tapes if you need very high accuracy. Even though I do it all the time, if I'm trying to measure something that's a tight fit, I'll usually measure it up against that object or try to use the same measuring tape as absolutely possible. Try not to lose the one that I've been using. Next up is the pocket hole jig. Now don't let people put you down about using pocket holes, mostly in the beginning. They are great ways to join wood. There are professionals that use stuff like the Castle that make pocket holes. Should you learn how to do things without pocket holes later? Yes, but at the beginning, there's nothing wrong with the pocket hole. So you can go with the Craig jig to make your pocket holes, and there's also other companies that make pocket hole jigs as well. They don't even make the one that I used to use when I started out. I upgraded to the K5, I think it is, and it was night and day. So if you can afford the more expensive one, I would recommend it, but don't even worry about it. Just get the cheap one. The $40 one is perfectly fine. So the big ticket item is the saw. You're going to need something to cut wood with. There are different ways you can do that. You can use a handsaw and just do everything by hand. There's nothing wrong with that. You can use a circular saw, and that's where I started out, with a circular saw. and a speed square or some kind of straight edge. You can also go with a table saw. That's going to be more expensive. You can either buy a new one or you can find one on Craigslist. Maybe somebody has one they can give to you. My father-in-law gave me an old Craftsman 113 table saw that I absolutely loved. It was a death trap until I could get a new fence on it, but I loved that saw. I learned so much on it, even though it wasn't perfect. Now, I would recommend getting a handsaw anyway, even if you want to go with a power tool, and the Suizon ones are really good. I do recommend those. Now, if you're already going to go with the Hercules drill, I would recommend staying in the same line of batteries in the same format and go with the circular saw from Harbor Freight, the Hercules circular saw. This is the one that like I said, I changed out. I sold my Bosch and also got the circular saw from Harbor Freight, and it works perfectly fine. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I do recommend that whatever battery format you go with, that you stick with that one. So if you go with a Harbor Freight battery, stick with the Harbor Freight tools. If you go with Makita, then get the Makita tools. It's just easier to not have multiple battery chargers that you have to go through. Keep it simple. Now the table saw. So you can start out with something that, like I said, somebody gave you, or you can start out with a job site saw. You would be amazed at what kind of things that you can make with just the simple job site saw. Tamar from 3x3 Customs did a wonderful job. All the stuff that she created was absolutely awesome with her DeWalt job site saw. And as I said before, everybody that gets into woodworking that you've seen on YouTube has gone through a journey. They have a history. And if you look at her videos now, she has a saw stop. But when she started out, she was on a DeWalt job site saw. So there's nothing wrong with starting out there. Now, I would recommend that if you can save up for the saw stop, even if it's just the compact table saw, the job site saw, you can use a circular saw, use a hand saw, save up some money by selling some things, and get that saw stop. It would definitely be worth it. Not only is it a good tool, but $1,000 is much cheaper than the emergency room and surgery and disability. Multiple times I've seen guys say, oh, you just have to be careful. You have to learn how to use it and use it properly with all the safety precautions and you'll never get bit. Well, that is not true. Wood moves. Wood is unpredictable. You could be doing all the right things and the wood can move, it can pinch, and it can draw your hand right into that blade. And I just saw this last month somebody who'd been using table saws for 20 years thought that it would never be him, and he got bit. So to start out at the cheapest end of just going into woodworking, just looking at tools, not supplies, you're talking about $200 to start on your woodworking journey. And that's with a handsaw. If you want to get a circular saw, then you're talking about $230 all in to start woodworking. If you have the funds or you're able to save up, then you're looking somewhere around $1,200 to start woodworking with a saw stop. Now remember, these are just tools. This isn't supplies like nails and glue and wood, which the wood sometimes you can actually get for free, like pallet wood. But just for tools, you're talking anywhere between $200 and $1,200 to $1,500 to start out. Even as a former computer tech, I really don't like AI, but I did run this through Grok after I was done with all the calculations to see how close I was, and it actually came out pretty accurate. Grok says that anywhere starting about $200 to $300 or so, you can start getting into woodworking. Thank you so much for watching. I will have some more videos up on beginning woodworking as well as some other videos. I do know that my daughter wants to learn how to make a box so she can store her fabric in it that she likes to use to sew. So hopefully we will be able to do that together soon.